hopes no one knows. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.
Hello, everybody. We have Melissa with us today. How is everybody doing on this Monday, I guess, afternoon for pretty much everyone, unless you're in Nova Scotia and the East Coast, which is probably everybody but me. How are you doing, Melissa? It's been a while.
I'm good. I've been at my brother's, but I'm good.
Did you want to just give everybody a little update on your channel? Because I know everybody's been asking me, so.
So there really isn't one. I messaged them Friday and asked them. I told them I was just checking in, and they said they were still working on it, and they let me know when they had some information to share. Thank you for my patience. I replied back. I said, well, thank you for getting back to me. I'll try to be patient, but patience is not my best quality. LOL. So I really haven't heard anything. So this is the backup account. If y'all want to go up to the pinned comment and hit subscribe, just in case I don't get it back.
Yeah, it is pinned. I will show it. And you know, neither one of us are really super sure if I'm allowed to promote Melissa's backup channel or if we should even talk about it, but just, do her solid. There's nothing wrong with having a backup channel, even if we get the old one back. So go over and sub up to I'm sorry, what is it? What is it called? Crime Time Chat with Melissa. I love that, actually. So everybody go over, give her a sub, cross your fingers that she gets the other one back. So close to 500 subs. It's just absolutely, it's infuriating, but terrifying too, that they can just snap it away from you, for no good reason, because both Sunny and I were well aware and supportive of promoting that channel. So it's unfortunate, but gonna get through it. Build a second channel up. It'll be good. Thanks for being here. Yes, ma'am. Where are Jack and Lily? Hey, Marie. And who else? Tiana, good to see you. Anxious to hear what happened with Daniel today. We'll talk about it. The courtroom was packed. Hey, Seaweed. Hey, Catter. I want to say a lot about that, but I will bite my tongue for now. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say. I mean, if we're just talking about Jack and Lily, I don't want to play the Janie clips from Mike Demand. I will if you guys really want me to, but I don't really want to do that today. There was a news article and a video from Belynda with, I believe, CBC. We're going to watch that. We'll go through that a little bit, but mostly I want to focus on your comments, your thoughts about Jack and Lily. And I am sure, even if I don't want it to, the conversation is going to steer to what happened this morning in the courtroom and what could possibly be in store going forward in that regard. But let's try to remember that today Jack and Lily have been missing for 10 months, and answers seem to be getting further and further and further away. Hey, Marianne, good to see you. Just a clapping seal. Hi, Corbin. I just seen that Daniel got to go back to court March 30th. He has to get a legal aid lawyer. Right. Holly Jolly, good to see you. Hell's frozen over out here. Here too. Daniel did not have representation today. He needs to be appointed legal aid, and I'm sure that will happen sometime before the 30th, but we'll talk about it. Hope you're having a great day. Prayers, justice for Lily and Jack. Thank you guys for fighting for Lily and Jack. Hugs. Thanks for being here, Bernice. Kimber. Prayers for Lily and Jack. It's been 10 months. Speak the truth and bring them home. 100%. If somebody just speaks up, this could be over. We could move on to whatever end that is, but we need answers. Jack and Lily deserve to come home. Roots, thanks for being here. Hi, Johnny. And where's Truth? Good afternoon, Sharon. Everyone listening for a bit while at work until I'm off at 2. Thanks for stopping in. Bobby Joe, good to see you. Hey, Kelly. The Chronicle Herald, CTV, and Globe and Mail have articles about Daniel's hearing today. Crown Prosecutor T. William Gorman going with indictable offense. Oh, more serious. Yes, I am aware. We will talk about it. Hey, Lori. Cindy Sperry, good to see you. Sailor, thanks for coming. Hey, Jesse D. Chicken Whisperer. Hi, Donna. Amy, good to see you. I didn't think there were that many people in here. I was sick of seeing that clip of Daniel today alive going on now is showing it over and over because Shan was in it. Or are we obsessed with shenanigans? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. It's unfortunate that that hearing was today and it is taking the focus completely away from Lily and Jack being missing for 10 months. It matters. It's not that that hearing didn't matter, but as I've been saying, it was a big, huge, fat nothing burger. We did, I guess, a little bit of progress to know that it's it's moving forward under an indictment. So that's basically all that came out of it. Like, see you at the end of the month. And I would be shocked if that entire hearing lasted more than 3 to 5 minutes, including the shuffling of papers. So thank you, C Legal. No, Janie was not there. Mike, good to see you. Hey, Tash. If he drags his feet with getting a lawyer, they could put it off for the next 3 court dates. They won't do anything until the accused has a lawyer. I've seen people push their charges over 1.5 years that way. Could be, but why would he want to? Like, I mean, truly, if he's truly innocent, which you and I, we all know that he's claiming he's innocent, why would you want to delay it? Let's face it head on. Tell the truth. It's kind of foreign, but tell the truth. Hi again from Newfoundland. Good to see you, Paulette. I do too. It's so sad. Was there any truth about the RCMP going to Wayne's? My information tells me no. He was simply out that day. He had returned in the evening. That whole post was... it served its perfect purpose. It created a lot of, I guess, speculation and conversation. Jack and Lily matter. The court date should have been on a different date. I 100% agree. Because where's everybody's focus? And I know it's news, and I know it matters to some people, and I know we all think of this as possibly being connected to what happened to Lily and Jack, or at the very least, the environment that they were exposed to. So it matters, but why today? Why today? I just not impressed. If no one has come forward yet, I don't think they will. I agree. And that's a clapping. Good. That's funny, Seaweed. It was all about Shan. Interesting. Not. Hi, Shar. Hey, Lynn. First appearances are usually very fast. They are basically just checking everyone has the paperwork. Right. The indictment wouldn't even admit a red today. It was nothing. Like I said to a couple of people, if you really want to go to a hearing, go to the next one. Because to me, and sorry, Melissa, I'm just babbling here. To me, I feel like they're um, people are talking about publication ban, and that is the victim's name, and that's standard. That is standard. But let's see how, and that includes posting and commenting on social media. So let's see how others behave themselves in that regard. And the March 30th hearing, if things go sideways on social media under that publication ban, those stipulations, I mean, we could see a closed court. So behave yourselves. Behave yourselves out there in the chat rooms and on the Facebook groups. Don't talk about the victim. Just don't do it. If you want to have a fair and public trial, don't do it. Lori, I haven't seen you forever. Thank you for being here. The date was based on alphabetical order of the docket. Right. I can't tell if you guys are arguing over another person's live or what. Are they arguing over it, or just Lori didn't like it and somebody is taking issue with Lori not liking it? I don't know. If that's an argument, stop arguing. Don't watch it if you don't want to see it. You noticed another post about an altercation? Where? What? Am I seriously behind in chat? Shouldn't be. Do I think what was purposeful? The date? No. No. Oh, we will search. We will not give up, Jack and Lilly. He said he waived the reading of the charges. It said he waived the reading of the charges. I was surprised his mother did not come to support him. I wasn't. During my surgeries in Antigonish, the nurse was talking about child trafficking is highest in Westville, Nova Scotia, near Lansdowne. A lot of people say that, Pictou. Was it something any of us said so we do not do it again? Just yes or no? No. No. It's just a matter of not talking. You're better off just to not talk about the details of the case. You want to talk about upcoming hearings? Fine. Just don't mention victims. Just be careful. Daniel cannot delay getting counsel indefinitely. Right. No, I know. I know. I've been thinking about the children all day. No point focusing on Daniel's extracurricular performances. Focusing, no. Acknowledging, yes, because like I said, it does allude to the environment that the kids were exposed to. And that could very well have, it could be related to what happened to them. So turning the other cheek or turning a blind eye to what's going on with Daniel, I don't think is a good idea either, but focus needs to stay where it needs to stay. Green Eyes, haven't seen you before. Thanks for being here. A physical altercation within the family on that Unhinged Uncensored group. I didn't hear that, but it doesn't surprise me. Hope you're doing well. 3 weeks is not that long for society to wait. Good to see you too, Crime Science Stories. The victims are the kids. They're not here, everyone else is. 10 months. And Lily and Jack and Lily have been missing. Jack's birthday, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's so far. And Lily's birthday is coming up. This is not okay. So someone needs to speak up. We've been saying that for 10 solid months, Marie. I don't think that's going to happen. Just my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. Unfortunately. Hey, Shy. The court prosecution will have access to the redacted portions of the documents. Absolutely. Sorry, I've lost track what happened to Melissa's channel. So, we did a live stream, and the next morning, Melissa woke up and her channel was gone. YouTube removed it because they said she was spamming. They call it spamming, but she was promoting her own channel in other chat rooms. So we're not 100% sure what's all involved in that, but like I said, her backup channel now is pinned to the comments or to the chat here. I'll post her backup channel throughout, and she is still, I guess you could kind of say, negotiating with YouTube after they denied her appeal, but she's still working on it. There's still a chance that she could get it back. So maybe support her backup channel in the meantime. I noticed Danny removed all of his toddler's photos on Facebook. They showed it to see other stuff at door and reactions of others, that's all. There's something to be said about showing something over and over and over and over again, right? I mean, people have the ability to go back, rewind, replay, whatever they want. And I mean, who cares? I won't be doing it. I'll show it once. That'll be it. I'm so glad. Little Bear, thanks for being here. Hey, Julia, I don't think anyone will. Once their charges came, I thought other parties would fold. I don't disagree with you. I think that because the mass majority of people think that if one knows, they all know because they were all there. And my thing is, if Daniel was protecting anyone, where's the line where he would start to say, fuck this, and talk? Is that line losing the baby to CPS? Is that line getting another boyfriend, not looking for the kids? Or is that line, according to Daniel, pages upon pages of false accusations to CPS about him? Or would that line be these 3 very serious, violent, indictable offenses that, I mean, he's been brought up on these charges and going forward with an indictment on these charges. So where's the line? Like, if everybody who says that is right, and we've got one person protecting the other, I think that ship has sailed. You know what I mean? So, and we have no idea if anybody's talking. But I think if that's the case, I think certain lines have been crossed for sure when it comes to trust and loyalty and all of that nonsense. It's pinned in the comments, Lori. I will post it again in just a minute. It wasn't spam. She had permission, but that's just what YouTube calls it under their terms of service. The small print that none of us Gen Xers ever read. So it's terrifying to know that you could put all this time and work into building a channel and then just wake up one morning and it's gone. And the appeal, I think it took them less than a day to deny the appeal. So, I mean, terrifying to think.
So they they denied the initial appeal. So, like Char said, we did a live, and then the next day I was busy doing stuff that day. I didn't get to my channel till the afternoon, and everybody's blowing me up trying to find it. And I'm like, I didn't even see those messages. I had went and refreshed my YouTube, and it said it couldn't log in, and I couldn't understand why. And it said spam something, that it had been taken away. So I appealed it. It took less than 3 minutes for them to come back with appeal denied. And I'm like, what the frick? So I looked into some stuff with the help of some other people. And because of the way I was posting it, where I have basically the same wording, they called it spam. I'm appealing it through another way. And it has been in appeal since it was taken down on February 21st is when I started that appeal, and I'm still appealing it. So we will see what happens, but I don't know.
Isn't it like that's crazy? And like I said, all the work that you put into building your channel, creating a space, like she was 5 subs away from 500. 5 subs away from that first. It's terrifying to think they can just swoop in and take it from you for something that you didn't even understand was an issue.
Yeah,
And
and
I mean, really, sorry, really quickly, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody. I actually hit 2,000 subs yesterday, so blew my mind. I never thought I'd see the day. Crazy, but thank you all so much. Anyways, sorry, Melissa, go ahead.
that's awesome that you've hit 2,000. That's great. But no, I mean, it just, I was so close. But what got me, yeah, it ticked me off, and I was really ticked off that my channel got taken. But what got me more is that somebody had to have reported it. It wasn't because it said I was reported for, and that's why they took it. So somebody actually reported it. And if you don't like me, fine. That's great. I don't care. Scroll on. You don't have to watch me. But, don't be a snowflake.
Right, and I mean, I think we all, or both of us, have a good idea who did that, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with the content or even putting her channel in. It had to do with something completely unrelated, a different case altogether. But I mean, move onward and upward. We're going to support the backup channel and cross our fingers that we get the former channel back. So that'll be really, really, really great. So, do you want to share some thoughts about the last 10 months of Jack and Lily's case, and if you've done any updates to the document, Melissa? And I'm going to pull up, I think just to get it out of the way, we'll go over the hearing really quickly so we can move on to Jack and Lily and keep the rest of the live about them, okay? Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me. So, let's see, the last update I did on the document, I believe, was when the articles came out in regards to Cheryl and Angelina, and the videos that I think it was CBC maybe did. So that was the last actual update I can remember doing. But I've debated on whether or not to put any of this Daniel crap in there, because I mean, I've put the court documents where he was arrested, but I may just under that put the updates and stuff for that. But something you said earlier, so you guys in Canada, so in the United States, when there's a trial, you have a right to a public trial. Yes, media can be blocked, but essentially you still have a right to a public trial. So you guys don't in Canada? Is that what I'm understanding?
We absolutely do, but if publication ban is violated, the judge can decide to do in-camera hearings only, right? The trial would be public, but the hearings could be in camera, which would be everybody not directly involved in the hearing has to get out of the courtroom. So it's not unlike the United States. The exact same thing could happen. Like if you have a vulnerable victim, like an underage victim or high profile victim or um undercover police or anything like that, anything where somebody's identity needs to be protected for whatever reason, that would be an in-camera or closed hearing, but the trial would still be public. But I mean, I'm sure there are circumstances where it could be a closed trial as well, and public would have access to, like the media would probably be allowed in, like mainstream media, but um, you know, I've personally never seen a closed courtroom for a trial in Canada, but I'm sure that there's a way depending. I mean, this case is something that Canada has never seen when it comes to social media coverage and the online s- crap. Because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that YouTubers or social media people are doing anything wrong. This I blame squarely on Daniel himself for being so active on social media. Um, I do think, um, he's even, I have my own ideas of how this whole social media mess started, but Daniel was a big, big part of it, and he fed into it and fed it. He fed the fire for months and months and months. So that's just what I mean. It's not unlike the United States, but we'll just see.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely fed that fire and kept adding more and more wood to it, so to say, because he kept flaming it for sure. But this is about Jack and Lily, and I thought it was kind of ironic. His first court date for this was on their 10-month disappearance, but at the same time, it does somewhat take away from Jack and Lily because it's not about Jack and Lily 10 months later and where we're at and what we think and going back over things. It's, well, what happened with Daniel at court? And I get wanting to know, and I can understand that, but it's also not about, well, this YouTuber was there or whatever. I get it's part of the case, but it's also not. It's adjacent, I guess, is the way to put it. And I just, the kids need found. And I just, the longer we go without somebody talking, the more I fear that the person who knows is just going to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Hey, Mr. Hemi and Diesel Weasel, everybody else for coming in. I wanted to hit this one really quickly. Tracy Cook was warning shenanigans to be careful. We know what happened to American Justice for spreading lies. That just shows you Tracy Cook is uninformed and not paying attention because that has nothing to do with what happened to American Justice. So,
Wait a minute. What am I spreading lies about?
nothing, nothing. If you don't know Tracy Cook, I will explain it to you later. Yeah, Mr. Hemi, we did. We're gonna hit it begrudgingly, but we will. Parapsychics, they're from Australia. That's nice. Um, okay. Thanks for doing that. Let's watch a couple of things on this hearing. We'll get it out of the way and then get to shit that matters, Jack and Lily.
Daniel Martell appeared in Pictou Provincial Court on Monday on charges of sexual assault, and forcible confinement. He's the stepfather of Jack and Lily Sullivan, who have been missing since last May. The charges against the 34-year-old Martell involve an adult complainant whose identity is protected by a publication ban. Interested members of the public packed the courtroom for the brief appearance. At the hearing, Martell stood with his hands clasped at his waist and stared forward as he appeared before the judge. Bill Gorman is the Crown lawyer handling the case. He says Martell will return to court later this month.
And that would be to confirm the formal retainer by Nova Scotia Legal Aid and to deal with the issue of election and/or plea, depending upon the level of court that's elected to.
Martell left the courthouse quickly and did not speak to the media. His next court appearance is set for March 30th. Allie Thompson, CBC News.
So yes, I saw shenanigans. I was surprised that that was Logan. She looks nothing like her Facebook pictures. No offense, but it is what it is. Truth. And there it is again. Here's a little article. Pictou Provincial Court was packed Monday morning as Daniel Martell made his first appearance to face charges of sexual assault, and forcible confinement. Martell, 34, is the stepfather to Jack and Lily Sullivan. The two children went missing last May from the Lansdowne Station home he shared with their mother. Despite a massive search by hundreds of ground search and rescue volunteers, RCMP dog teams, and aerial units, the two children have not been found. A massive outpouring of grief and interest has followed the case. A publication ban prohibits releasing any information that could identify Martell's alleged victim, who has only been identified by police as an adult. The charges, with which Crown Prosecutor Bill Gorman said stem from an incident or incidents over 12 months ago, will proceed by indictment. The charges are not related to the missing children. Martell is scheduled to appear back in Pictou Court on March 30th. And with that, let's get back to chat for a minute and we'll get some thoughts from Melissa. That's right. There was no lying, and people that think that she was lying, they just weren't listening. Daniel's case today and the publication ban is nothing but to rotate and focus on him and only him. Distraction with seeds planted to ignore what matters the most. Arrogant and rude. Jack and Lily. Court is so different compared to the US. Transparency wise, absolutely. But I'm talking about the publication bans, gag orders in the States, whatever, and violations of those publication bans and what the court's options are. They're not dissimilar. Who was the two women with him, Logan and? Not even a clue. If this is true, the kids being in that environment is definitely mental and emotional abuse towards Jack and Lily. Not a clue, guys. Yes, she was right behind him, and that's what we were saying in the other chat and rewatched to see the other stuff. And like, please, like, by all means, you guys, go check out Globe and Mail, CTV, whatever, wherever that's covering Daniel stuff. Jack and Lily matter today. I'm reading this just because I know most of the questions today will probably be about that. So for some reason, my membership didn't go through this month. Oh, that's too bad. Don't worry too much about it. Melissa, some thoughts on what you just heard and saw?
Well, essentially, it's a big nothing burger. They didn't do anything. He said he, didn't want his rights or the charges read, and here's your next court date to get a lawyer. I mean, what I would assume would happen for the first hearing. I kind of expected everything that said, so I wasn't surprised by any of it.
Right. And like I said, if that's something that you're interested in going there to see one of these hearings, just know that Jack and Lily's mother will not attend any of these hearings. She will be required to testify if it goes to trial. but she's not required to be at any hearing. But I mean, if it's something that you want to see, I suggest going to the March 30th hearing. Just my own advice. So this here is about Belynda and her guardianship application. And we'll watch that and then we'll talk about it.
Especially from Belynda Gray.
I'm anxious for spring. I'm anxious for more searches.
Gray is the grandmother of 6-year-old Lily and Jack Sullivan, who would now be 5. They were reported missing May 2nd. Their last confirmed sighting was the day before. Gray is now going to court. She's seeking guardianship and has launched a campaign to cover court costs.
If things don't go the way we're hoping, I want to be the voice and the person that lays them to rest with love.
She says the guardianship will also allow her to access documents she currently cannot, including reports from Child Protective Services and records from the children's school.
That was my main reason for wanting to start this.
Police say this remains a missing persons investigation and continue to follow up on tips, but aren't releasing further details.
I don't doubt the RCMP are doing all they can, but until they get a break, they're not going to be able to do anything.
Meanwhile, the children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, faces unrelated charges. He's due back in court on March 2nd. But right now, all the community has on their minds is Jack and Lily.
People's biggest want, I think, is just to know what happened.
As for the months ahead, it won't be easy for Gray. She plans on returning to the search for Lily and Jack. Hafsa RFC TV News, Halifax.
Sorry. Just in case, I'll mute that. And so I don't know what do you guys want to hit on first? Like, she did have her hearing in February. I am told that literally they have to add 3 words to the existing filings and they'll move forward. I know that Malehya's lawyers were hoping to get it thrown out, but it didn't get thrown out, and it's going forward once those filings are reworded to include 3 additional words. So, yeah, I don't know, see legal if she did or not. Why does Sunny not have any shows anymore? Sunny is busy working and she's got some stuff on the go. She covers a little bit of Nancy Guthrie here and there, but she's busy working most of the time. So she's not so much covering Jack and Lilly. There's no new information for her to cover. So do you know what's going to happen on the 30th? Do you or anyone else think that Daniel will eventually crack and maybe if he goes to prison, he will accidentally confess to someone? Anything is possible if he does go to jail, but I think what will happen, this is just my opinion, just what I see happening, though, if he's waived the reading of the charges, I don't know if they'll read the indictment to him. They will ask if he understands the charges. They will ask him how he pleads, as long as he has representation. If he pleads not guilty, then at that time it'll be scheduled for trial. But between that date and the trial date, there'll be other hearings that come up and the trial date will be pushed off. It's just always pushed off. But at that time, once he enters his plea and he has his lawyer intact, everything is good there, then he'll get discovery. He'll know what evidence they have against him, and it's possible that he could not make a plea until after he gets discovery too. Like, I'm not sure, but that's what I see happening. I think that if it does go to trial, I think you're lucky to see it before a year and a half, 2 years down the road. It's just common. As for eventually crack, if he hasn't yet, I don't know. I don't know. This case will be on my head and heart until the end. Even though information is very, very sparse, true information, real factual information, we don't get any of it anymore. We're always going to have Jack and Lily in our minds and in our hearts. And when there's things to talk about that doesn't include just mindlessly raving and ranting and attacking and accusing, we'll talk about Jack and Lily. But when there's nothing of value to discuss, we'll keep them in our minds and in our hearts, and we'll keep mentioning their names, and we'll keep sharing their stories. But there's only so much you can do unless you want to buy into that sort of coverage. And I hope everybody here understands that. I'm not prepared to do that. And it's not because I don't care, and it's not because I'm forgetting about them or moving on. It's just because there's only so much you can talk about. And just because of the way the coverage is. And I don't mean any shade towards anybody. People run their channels or their groups or whatever, however they want to. It's just not for me. So, hey, Cheryl. Good to see you. In my honest opinion, it supports victims of domestic violence for people to show up and hold the alleged abuser accountable. People are seeing what can happen when domestic violence happens. It's not a joke or just playing. Domestic violence is serious. Ask me no questions and I will tell you no lies. Just ask the right questions. In my opinion, is how this entire family follows as a rule of thumb. All guilty, Jack and Lily only matter. I don't disagree with you. And that whole statement takes me back to the polygraph test. What was the point in asking those questions? Were you just trying to confirm that they're not alive anymore? What about the rest of the scenarios? You know, like I don't understand that polygraph. It's troubling to say the least. We do cooking supper, what you cooking? I appreciate that, Granetta. And Annie Ganesh tonight thinking the wheel pizza. Pizza? Is there government money given to families who have missing Indigenous children in Nova Scotia? Listen, I don't know about Indigenous, First Nations, any of those programs. I don't have a clue. But I do not think, I can't say that. I don't know, Universal. I wish I did. But I really have no information about First Nations programs, benefits, resources. It depends on how Daniel pleads. Think he will can plead guilty with an explanation or not guilty. Maybe Shar or someone else can explain it better. Guilty with an explanation. I've never heard of that one. There's no contest. There's lesser charges that could be offered if he decides to approach them with some kind of a plea agreement. But I don't know. More delays will happen on March 30th. Absolutely. I don't think the plea will be delayed. I think, and I mean, if Daniel is watching, I think your lawyer would know better, but to me, it's better just to get it out of the way so you can move forward with whatever plea, with whatever you decide to do. There's very few and far between these cases where somebody goes in and just pleads guilty without seeing all the discovery and stuff. Like their lawyers are pretty pretty adamant about pleading not guilty. You can always change a plea later, but you can't change a guilty to not guilty later. I mean, you could, it just doesn't look good. So I suspect he's just going to plead not guilty and then, go from there. Because like Ruth said, I mean, delay after delay after delay, and it's not even delay, it's just process. You'll have a hearing, and then you'll have a pretrial hearing or conference, and all of those things are subject to delay, and the trial date will be put off. Like, I think that the trial date that is first set, everybody's going to be like, oh wow, that's this summer. We're not going to have to wait long at all. Yes, you will. That's just the initial court date or trial date. I don't know if Daniel and Malehya will be in court at the same time. No. She doesn't have to appear at all until the day she testifies at trial. She doesn't have to be there. This is not civil court. It's not family court. This is criminal court. Garnetta, thank you for becoming a member. That's so nice. Thank you. I will watch the rest of your show. Thanks for stopping in. Where's Truth? If it goes to trial, will Malehya only the day that people who are testifying, generally speaking, are not allowed in the courtroom while other evidence is being given, right? But Daniel has the right to face his accuser, so she will have to testify at some point. That is the only day that she will be required, or 2 days, or however long her testimony takes, to be there. And I just totally violated the gag order. My bad. Can we fucking move on before I ruin things for people? If they meet the criteria, I don't know what the criteria is. They look dressed for it. What's the weather like down there? That order would not apply if they are attending court. The sheriff is there for protection. Protection of who? Daniel will see what the Crown has on him. Yeah, he will have to decide if the trial will be at provincial court or Supreme Court. It doesn't go to Supreme Court. It has to go through the circuit court first. It has to go through the trial court. Right? Right? Because you're talking about the difference between provincial and federal. He will get disclosure once a lawyer is retained. Right. He could self-represent, but that would be silly with criminal, indictable, serious, violent offenses, to me. Gracious, good to see you. Just so you know, your hoodie was sent out last week. Let me know when you get it. Miss Lily, month 7 years, come the 22nd. Right. It's in our Constitution, 6th Amendment, Confrontation Clause. Oh, look, your card went through. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. At his year-end interview, McCammon said something like, the relationships in the family will have a part in Jack and Lily's case, was said before Daniel was charged. It's important to keep an open mind despite our gut feels. Attacking and accusing just allows people to use it and play victim. After all this time, we still have zero hard evidence. And it's frustrating and it's heartbreaking. And I cannot believe that we have so many family members willing to talk and share unshareable information with YouTubers, but we have no truth and we have no answers. It's mind-blowing. I'll take your word for that, Seaweed. What the fuck? Really? Wouldn't surprise me if they did. Used to deliver, is that... I'm not going to say it. Not too late. I agree with you completely and respect you for that. What about not talking just to talk? Because it's easy to get caught up in it. It's so easy just to get up in the drama and the shit, and I can't do it anymore. Does it have a bearing on victims not going ahead with charges because of fear? Um, victims of crime in Canada, we don't get to decide whether or not we're pressing charges or not. It's the RCMP that make that choice. Like if I was assaulted, I can't tell the police, don't worry about it. I'll get over it. I don't want to press charges. That's not how it works here. Did they confirm today he is being charged with? Yes, they went forward under the indictment. Sure did. Would guilty with an explanation be she attacked me or no, no. That would be a self-defense, but that wouldn't be a plea, right? That would be a defense. So that would be a not guilty plea, and then the lawyer would present evidence to show he was acting in self-defense, if that makes sense. The only other one is like not guilty. It's not guilty by reason of insanity the way we see it, but it's not criminally responsible. That is a different plea as well. So there's guilty, not guilty, and then there's that. But any kind of defense, like self-defense, would be presented at trial. It's not part of the plea itself. No contest is not available as plea, only not guilty and guilty. But no contest could be part of a deal. Like I know this because of my own experience. My ex ended up pleading no contest. But that was after a not guilty and after a few days of trial. So changed his plea to no contest. Daniel will be grateful for due process. As long as he doesn't fuck up. Like if he's free, he's probably got an ankle monitor, whatever. But if he doesn't have to sit in jail, he could very well try his best to delay. Why wouldn't he? Especially if they have evidence. But I wonder if it's possible once they've, read the indictment and he enters his plea. I wonder if it's possible that now he is going to be detained until trial. Like, I don't know how that works. I'm not sure, to be honest. Our courts are really public. We usually only hold back the name of minors, and not much is ever redacted from court documents. You talking about Canada? Hopefully he isn't burning that support as well. I don't think we are supposed to be mentioning... Right. Oh man, I'm so late. No, you're not. I don't think you are. No. Sometimes a victim will be scared off from going through with a trial. Somebody else is going to have to speak to that. I don't want to speak out of turn, but in Canada, it just doesn't work like that. They can't back out of, they can't say I was assaulted, but don't worry about it. I don't want to press charges. I'm hard pressed to think of a single time that I've heard of that happening here. Publication ban on the victim. Yes. Do you follow Brian Enton? Yes, I do. JLR, not so much. No comment. Don't worry about it. Protection of both parties, like Char said, the victim does not have to attend until trial. And it will only be that one day, or however long that testimony takes. because the accused has every right to face his accuser. I don't do Facebook Lily and Jack groups anymore. Me either. Ever since I have been dealing with crazy people lying on me and acting a fool, does anyone know if anything is planned for the 22nd for Lily? No idea. I haven't heard a single thing. Not a single thing. Hopefully they'll do the same kind of thing that we did for Jack. They had that vigil. I would assume so. I don't suspect we'd see Daniel at that one though. You know, maybe Cyndi, Cheryl, possibly Haley. Not a clue. Nova Scotia have special measure to protect victims giving evidence. She can give evidence via video link. Anybody can. Yeah. Can be provided so they cannot see each other. Also victimless prosecution, possibly. Lily and Jack. For trials, the options are Supreme Court of Nova Scotia in Ontario, Superior Court, and Provincial Court for SA trials. This is not to be confused with Supreme Court of Canada. Okay, thank you. It's like the Commonwealth here in Kentucky. Belle said, hello, Melissa. I keep falling behind in chat because I talk about these, so why don't you take over for a minute, Melissa, so that we can hear your voice and have your thoughts.
Well, I've been taking a couple notes. So as far as Belynda goes with the, her court case, I really hope she does win, because out of all the family, in my opinion, Belynda has been the one that has been consistent and speaking out and drawing awareness and actually loves the kids. For the date on the 30th, I really think that he's just going to be appointed a lawyer, and then it'll be essentially either delayed or set over so that that lawyer has time to catch up and request discovery and all of that. As far as the victim appearing in the United States, the way it works is if you are going to testify in a trial, and I don't know how it is in Canada, but if you're going to testify at a trial, you're not allowed to be there through any of it. Until you testify, and then after that you can sit in on court and stuff like that, but they won't let you until after you testify. And the victim can't really back out, because in most states in the United States, if you charge somebody, and I know this for a fact from personal experience, if you charge somebody, you call the cops, so and so battered me, and it's your spouse or a child or something like that, you can't then say, well, I don't want to press charges, because 9 out of 10 the state's going to say, well, we don't really give a crap what you want. We're pressing charges as the state, and they will either, you can come testify and do it, or we'll call you as a hostile witness. But either way, most of the time the state's going to pick it up. But I don't see Daniel Martell going pro se or being his own attorney, because a man who represents himself has a fool for a client. So, Daniel, I wouldn't suggest doing that. As far as the no contest in the United States, I don't know how it is there, but in the United States, it's essentially saying, well, I'm not guilty, but I admit that the state or the courts or whoever has enough evidence to convict me, but I'm still saying I'm not guilty. So it's kind of a mixture of a guilty and not guilty, because you're saying, well, I'm not guilty, but I admit that you have enough evidence to charge me and convict me in a court of law, but I'm not going to admit to it. So I don't really see that happening in this case either. So I don't know. Hello, Miss Bell and Little Black Bear. Let's see. I'm just going to start at the bottom here. Hey, Melissa, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Not seen you around for a while. Not sure if I have missed you. My link is pinned at the top, Woman's Warrior. If you want to hear the story, go back to the front. I don't want to sit here and rehash it because this is not about me or my channel. March 22nd is her birthday. Yes. Hopefully they'll do a vigil. I would think that they would. They did one for Jack, so I would think that somebody would organize one for Lily. I would hope anyway. After recently going through this, I can say it's a long process. I can also say our system is broken. I don't know about Canada, but I know the US system definitely is broken when it comes to domestic violence cases. And it's sad, but it's true. The Crown said that the CBC video that the next appearance is for Daniel to pay the required retainer to legal aid. Okay, so that would be weird in the States to have to pay a retainer for legal aid. Legal aid generally here, if you are low income, under the poverty line, they just give you a lawyer.
Yeah, no, legal aid is the same thing. I think it's like the province would be paying for legal aid, so that's all that means. Daniel doesn't have to pay for that.
Okay, that makes sense then. In the UK, you cannot refuse to give evidence. They will arrest you for contempt. It's a fine or a month in jail. Oh, that sucks. Belynda believes, nope, not yet. I'm fighting to get it back. I'm in the middle of an appeal, but again, it's up top linked, or you can click on my picture, whatever, because I have this channel going. I feel we need some fairy magic to get the whole truth for sweet, innocent Jack and Lily. Yeah, right? I mean, the truth needs to come out, no matter what the truth is. Melissa, my heart breaks for Belynda. I pray each day she will get some answers right. I mean, that's where I'm at. It's like, for me, I just feel like she's the only one that truly loves the kids, and is fighting for justice for them and is keeping them front and center. In my opinion, but I mean, that's my opinion. So Lucy says no contest is the same here. It's an Alford plea in the States. Yes. It is similar to no contest. Yeah. They're actually a little bit different. No contest and Alford pleas, slightly, but not much. But yeah. My daughter's death on the 21st, 1 year. My mom's birthday next day. Hard to tell my mom about her death. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be hard. He'll probably get a court-appointed attorney. I would hope so.
Sorry, I thought you were done. So I unmuted myself and then we had an echo. So I had this sent to me last night. Just seeing on the screen. I'm gonna read it. And little black bear. Thank you. It's very nice of you. I appreciate that. Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Okay. Okay. So, like I said, I got this sent to me last night. So I posted it on the community page and I noticed there was like a lot of comments. So I wanted to read through it and get everybody's thoughts on it because I have some myself. Amendments to several acts introduced today, February 25th, will further protect the privacy rights, safety, and well-being of children, youth, and families in Nova Scotia. The changes include prohibiting the use of social media to identify children who are the subject of a court proceeding and extending the maximum length of emergency protection orders to 1 year from 30 days. At the heart of these amendments are children and youth, as well as survivors of domestic violence, who deserve privacy, protection, and the right to supports at the right time, said Barbara Adams, Minister of Opportunities and Social Development. Those navigating difficult circumstances deserve care, respect, and strong safeguards. These changes help to ensure that. Amendments under the Children and Family Services Act will further protect the privacy rights of children who are or have been the subject of a court proceeding by adding social media as a prohibited form of publication. This means publishing information on social media that could identify the child will be strictly prohibited. Make explicit that publication bans related to child and family well-being proceedings remain in place even after a proceeding has ended, including cases where a child or youth has died. Require any person who has pled guilty or been found guilty of an offense against or involving a child be entered on the child abuse register, including where conditional or absolute discharge is granted. This strengthens the register as an important safeguard to help protect children and youth. Formally recognize the minister's responsibility to offer supports that help prepare youth aging out of care for adulthood, reinforcing existing practice and ensuring continued focus on successful transitions to independence. And to further support the well-being of children and youth in Nova Scotia, Budget 2026 and 27 includes funding to establish the Office of Children and Youth. Key amendments to other legislation include changes to the Domestic Violence Intervention Act, will extend from the maximum length of emergency protection orders to 1 year from 30 days, which will improve the safety and security of survivors of domestic violence and their families. Changes to the Beneficiaries Designation Act, which will allow electronic signatures for all plans under the Act, moving the regulation of social work to the Regulated Health Professions Act, and repealing the Social Workers Act. The Health Professions Act, proclaimed in 2023, provides common regulatory and accountability processes for all self-regulated health professionals under one piece of legislation. Some quick facts: as part of continuous improvement, the Children and Family Services Act requires the minister to appoint a committee to review legislation every 4 years, and the amendments include recommendations from the committee. The current maximum for emergency protection orders, 30 days, is the shortest among all jurisdictions in Canada, and 5 other provinces, Newfoundland and Labrador, PEI, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, explicitly allow electronic beneficiary designations in their legislation. So, some interesting, this part here is the one that I question, and I would like you guys to set me straight. Where is it? The changes include prohibiting the use of social media to identify children who are the subject of a court proceeding and extending the maximum length of emergency protection orders to 1 year from 30 days. I think that that's great. I really do. But my question is about the social media to identify children. So this can't include missing children. Like, this wouldn't apply to where Jack and Lily's case is right now, right? Right? Because it would be, I think, once it transitions into a criminal investigation, then it would fall under this legislation. How do you guys see that? How do you see that? How do you see that? Here on PEI, there's a petition for an inquiry into CPS regarding the death of Winter Acorn. Well, we love all you make. Yeah, actually, I do love all of my chatters. I got notice it should arrive this week. Oh, good. Does anyone know? No, I don't.
So, the way I take that, and I may be wrong here, but I've been sitting here looking at it, and the way I take it, when they say that children who are subject to court proceedings. So for me, that would be Joe Blow over in Nova Scotia is 14 years old and got charged with robbing the local convenience store. That's kind of like how I take that, not necessarily missing children. Now, what, because they're not the subject of the court proceeding, right? Jack and Lily aren't. Now, if it transitions to a trial for the unaliving of Jack and Lily, they're still, I don't want to come off cold here, and I may be saying this wrong, but they're not necessarily the subject of that court hearing. They are the victims of the court hearing. The subject would be the person charged. That's how I read that, but I may be reading that wrong.
Some good thoughts in chat. Right. Uh, but I don't look at it as a cover up. I look at it as protecting their privacy, and I understand that. And a good example that I can think of in the United States, and for the most part in Canada too. So you've got a missing child, and with or without an Amber Alert, whatever, their faces are everywhere, all over social media. Once that missing child is either found deceased or found alive, there's been cases in the States, or presumed no longer alive, then that child's face is blurred out on media, on like the news and everything else. They'll no longer share the name. They'll no longer share unredacted photos. But this is my question. Like, I realize that they might not be able to like backdate this legislation to cover this Jack and Lily case, but just heaven forbid there is a case just like it after this legislation passes. So they're missing. It's under the Missing Persons Act. So we can still know their faces, we can still know their names, we can still share their information. Or are they trying to prevent us from doing that? Because that's where I see an issue. That's almost, it's almost like this child is missing, but you can't share their face or their name. You're just going to have to trust us that they're missing and spread the word. You know what I mean? Like, I understand protecting them once they're found or determined to be not alive or whatever. But it just worries me, and I think Uri is right when she says they would have to really be clear and concise in the wording in the legislation to make sure that it's covered. Because if a child is missing under suspicious circumstances and there's an Amber Alert, yeah, their faces and names, they're going to be out there. But at what point would this legislation kick in and now you're no longer allowed to, we have to pretend we don't know their names anymore? That is literally the only thing about this legislation that I think is a gray area. What do you think? Social media is a huge platform to find missing children. That would be illogical, but I don't put it past the girl. That's what I mean. So I worry about that. Charmaine, I believe it will be future cases. I don't think, right. But again, heaven forbid, but there's another case just like this one. How are we supposed to advocate for Jack and Lily if their parents aren't even looking for them? The RCMP isn't coming out with updates, and literally all we've got is daily YouTube channels covering the case Are we not allowed to do that in the
Well,
future?
how would you look for a missing child if you don't have the name and the face? Like, that would defeat the purpose of keeping the fact that this missing child is out there. You would have to have the name and face. That's why I don't think it's necessarily a missing child until it goes to court for like an unaliving.
Who are or have been the subject of a court. So does that mean, and I mean, it's really hard for me to say what I'm thinking, but if there have, say in this case, Daniel Malehya were part of, like charges stemming from CPS involvement. They're then a subject of a court proceeding and they go missing. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like where's the line? Like, do you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't, because there was never any court proceeding that we know of, as far as Jack and Lily's involvement with CPS or the ministry or whatever. But had there been this under this new legislation, does that mean that once they're missing because they were a subject of a court case that we can't, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be very carefully worded and explicit in the explanation of that legislation.
Well, I think that you could like still share, like if they went missing. Okay, so your scenario, if CPS is involved, yes, they would be the subject of it. So you couldn't search for the CPS info and the names and the faces in the CPS. But once they went missing, then it would be a missing child. So you could share it, maybe. I don't know. That would be the only, if that were the scenario, that's the only thing I could think that would make sense, because they're still missing. So I don't know. I think they better come up with some wording and some pretty clear guidelines within that of, like you're saying, where's the line? They need to be specific of when and what, and to some extent. I don't mean go into every detail, but I think they definitely need to explain and be very careful with their wording.
Yeah. It's the whole idea of that is troubling for sure. It is troubling for sure, because as it is, Jack and Lily don't get nearly enough FaceTime on mainstream media, and parents aren't looking for them. And like literally all they have are Facebook groups and YouTube channels and the odd news story here and there. So that would be very, very upsetting. Right. But my point is, J9, like if just a scenario, if there were prior court proceedings because of CPS that involved Jack and Lily, because they were a subject of a court case under this legislation, the way it reads, the way this article reads, we wouldn't be able to publish their faces or names or identities on social media if they go missing. Even like the court case it's not about them being missing, but they're still, I don't know. No, I don't like it. I don't like it.
It would be a very fine line.
It says immediately once they are located or if the disclosure does not assist the investigation to respect their privacy, they stop sharing info, especially if a minor. Where? Did I read that and just not even know that I read it? I might have, to be honest with you. In the UK, we don't know any details about the children, just missing description and details of disappearance. Then we can only discuss after court proceedings and sentencing if child is dead. So you have, okay, so you don't get to know their name because I'm not, well, yeah, mainstream media kind of came up and told us who Daniel was, who Malehya was. But I mean, social media was the source of that, and we had Sunny and I had people reaching out to us to put the information out there. But my concern is, at what point are we not allowed to talk about these kids on social media? That's all. That's all. I know soon missing children's posters will have to have last name removed and only first name, so missing children's posts will still be allowed. Okay. Okay. But again, social media, it's not hard to dig up information. In my opinion, this goes into dictatorship from the higher ups, government attempting to control the outcome. This has to do with children that should be allowed to share in whatever means possible to find them, particularly if their families aren't looking for them. I don't know. Maybe I say that too often, but I can't help it. The person who took care of M before she was taken to CPS testified also. What? Today? What? What are you talking about? Testified for what? At a custody hearing? Just about every child missing in Nova Scotia has CPS involvement. This seems wrong. Right. And that's where my concern is. Like, where's the line? And the transparency. And it's everybody's business when CPS is involved and children fall through the cracks. But does that mean we're all entitled to the information CPS has on Jack and Lilly? Do we have any kind of entitlement to that? I don't think so. I think that the investigators do. I think that all members of the family should, if a child goes missing and there was previous CPS involvement. I absolutely think that it's relevant and important for family to be made aware. But I don't think the public at large has an entitlement to any of that information. I don't know. Info is removed by police and agencies from social media once a child is found. Right. But how are they going to do that, gracious? When there's probably thousands of pictures and posts with Jack and Lily's names and faces and missing kids' names and faces because we hear about a missing child and we're on it. We're sharing that picture far and wide for months and months and months and months. How are they going to take all of that back? Because you've heard it. Once it's on the internet, there's no taking it back. So this is part of that slippery slope. It would be really hard to police, I think. I think social media is invaluable in missing children cases, yet at the same time, I can see that the YouTubers, etc., that fake facts muddy the waters. 100%. Couldn't agree more. RCMP Legal Procedures, also Missing Persons Act, Youth Criminal Justice Act. Gail, good to see you. CPS basically doesn't have to answer to anyone. I think that is one of the first things that should be changed and looked into. 100%. They do have an oversight, but I mean nobody is holding them accountable when they fail at their jobs. I can't. Could you imagine being a CPS worker in a case like Jack and Lily's and making decisions and mere months later the children go missing? Could you imagine being that human being? And the sad part is most of them are so hardened they think, well, I dealt with it to the best of my ability. There's no regret. There's no, you know, it's if you watch that documentary Gabriel Fernandez, it's out of the States, but it's still heartbreaking, especially to listen to social workers, not the ones that were brought up on charges and taken to trial for their failures, but the ones who worked with them, defending them, defending them all. We are already supposedly not able to repost news in Canada. I wonder if it will be the same kind of legislation that's out there, but no reposting. That's annoying as shit too. You go to share a story and then whoever you're sharing it to says I can't open it. Well, it's because it's banned or censored. Child trafficking is at an all-time high, and our government does this. It feels like was not written in the spirit it is being portrayed as. Misleading. Government don't want you to see how inept they are, will hide their failures behind privacy. Always. The new child advocate will be responsible for the accountability of CPS once finally completed. But who's going to hold them accountable? Yes, they have to consult family before releasing photos where a person is found. All right, we chat and theorize. We don't investigate, so we're entitled to nothing. It would choke any future court case. Exactly. We will use AI. You can report social workers to the Social Worker Association, but my point is if Daniel and Malehya decided not to tell anybody that CPS paid them a visit, who's going to report the social worker? I think maybe immediate family, grandparents perhaps, should be made aware. I don't know. What's the answer? What would have helped Jack and Lily? I mean,
Having it collateralized.
we've all got big minds, big ideas, and rational thinking and common sense. What could have helped Jack and Lily when CPS went there? And we can't just say they should have been yanked out, but they weren't. So what other ideas would there be? To me, inform Cyndi, inform Belynda that this visit has happened. Here are the requirements. Here's what they have to do. Because we're looking out for the well-being of your grandchildren. So then not only do Daniel and Malehya have to answer to CPS and make them happy, they also have grandmas looking over them or something. Do you know what I mean? To me, I don't know. What do you guys think? I didn't say that they don't care. I know that they're overworked. I'm not saying that they don't care. I'm just saying to have to be a social worker who may have overlooked or made the wrong decision and then a few months later have children come up missing, to watch the excuses and the finger pointing away from their own mistakes. I wouldn't want to be in that position. I'm not saying they didn't care. That's not what I said, Christina. Please, I'm sorry if you thought that I said that. Go ahead, Melissa.
So, something I watch a lot just for background noise when I'm doing things here in the house is I'll watch custody hearings. And they do what are collateralized reports. So they go and they talk to the mom and they talk to the dad and they talk to other people around the person. So whether it's a therapist or a family member, there's, 4 or 5 people that are talked to. So, maybe CPS needs to start doing collateralized reports when there's known domestic violence or things in some of these cases. And that would include going and talking to the grandparents and the family that are immediate. Not saying go talk to the cousin, but talk to grandma and grandpa, maybe an aunt and uncle, and get some information. And that way everybody is on the same page. And I see a lot of people saying, talk to the family, inform the family. And exactly that's what a collateralized report is. And they talk to everybody. And I really think, honestly, I don't know if you guys have it in Canada, but in the United States, we have guardians ad litem, which are GALs. And I can't say that we have them in CPS cases, but you'll get them in like custody when you have mom and dad fighting. Maybe they need to enact something like that for every case that has domestic violence or drug use, things of that nature.
But we're already understaffed and underfunded, right? So I think that adding more official people would be impossible with our budgets and whatnot. But I like deafening silence here because that's exactly what I'm talking about, a family safety plan. So if CPS is going to um come out with a safety plan or an improvement plan or some kind of you know um plan in order to keep the kids with the parents and keep the families together, this and that, they should have a like like a family overseer or something, somebody in the family who the parents have to sign a privacy waiver or whatever so that this other family member can be made aware of the situation, and not only be made aware of the situation, but has a burden placed upon them to report if the parents aren't, you know, doing what they're supposed to do, if there's no improvement, if the children are still in jeopardy in any way, shape, or form. If the plan that CPS has laid out for the parents is not being followed, then that family, like the extended family person that's been kind of given the, I guess, privilege of being privy to they have an obligation to report that to CPS so that there's no more, I guess, the workload for CPS wouldn't be increased, but the accountability for the parents would definitely be increased, because then the person in the family that's meant to just kind of watch over and make sure things are happening, they're also going to be held accountable if they fail to report that. Do you know what I mean? Like there has to be a way to protect these kids. Because I understand what everybody's saying, and Christina, I get it. They're overworked. They care. I get it. I do. But we have to,
But
there
this would
has to
help
be,
that situation.
yeah.
And I mean, I say that because if you're informing, and that's where I was saying collateralize, let somebody else know and have input, because then it takes a little less work, not a lot, but it takes a little less weight off of the CPS worker, because the weight of that family or that situation is not solely on their backs to make sure they're checking in and stuff. They've got help from family. And whether, maybe you pick 2 people in the family, one from each side, one from dad's side, one from mom's side. And, okay, they had Cheryl, Malehya's mom, or Cyndi, Malehya's mom. And then you have Belynda from the dad's side. So you've got 2 that are able to check in and make sure everything's right and can call and say, okay, well, this is what I seen, this is what, I think is going wrong, it would take some of the weight off of the CPS workers and not add to the already stressed budget. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and then like I said, that person who's empowered to watch over this, safety plan or whatever with CPS also has that obligation and can be held accountable if they're not reporting. I don't know, like how do you, like I said, there has to be more to it because we're not going to change the government. That's clear. That's obvious. And so what is doable? What is workable? And don't come crying to me about privacy and all this shit because to me, if you've put your children's well-being, health and safety so far down your priority list that CPS comes to your door, your privacy when it comes to what you've done to your children, to me, is no longer your priority or anybody's priority. That means you need people to step in to make sure you're being a parent. To me, do you know what I mean? Like that don't because that's going to be the argument for an idea like that. Well, that's going to violate, for example, Daniel Malehya's privacy. Would it?
Not if they're the
Because
ones picking the family member.
exactly, and they're responsible. They're responsible for their children, for the well-being, the safety, and the overall care of their children. And if CPS has come in for whatever reason, they're failing at their responsibility with those children. So now we expect the government to step in and make the kids safe, all while trying to keep families together. So the onus has to be on CPS, but we should also place some of that back with the family and say, okay, grandma, you need to check in every day. You need to make sure the kids are doing better. Here are the issues we found. Here is our improvement plan. Here is our plan going forward. And we need you to be our eyes and ears to make sure that these improvements happen in order to keep the kids safe. And if you fail to report anything, big or small, you can be held accountable for anything that happens to those kids.
And
I think that would work. Harley is breathing heavy in my ear, so I'm gonna mute and let you talk.
and it wouldn't have to be a long-term, you know, issue. It would be as long as CPS is involved. So if CPS comes in, okay, mom, you pick one person from your side of the family that you trust us to share information with, you trust is going to have your kid's best interest at heart. And it wouldn't be Daniel that chose a person because he's not dad and he's not technically stepdad because they're not married. So it would be the legal dad, which is Cody. Okay, Cody, you pick one person. I don't care if you haven't seen the kids for 3 years. You're still their legal father. You pick one person from your side of the family that checks in on the kids. This is the issues that's going on. And that would solve a lot of issues. And like I said, take some of the strain off of CPS. And then, then when the kids have a black eye, well, you report it. I don't care if they have a black eye every day. You report it every day until that black eye is gone or until the next one comes. Because you don't want to say, okay, well, they had a black eye on Monday. Well, Wednesday they got hit in the eye again. So now it started that whole process all over again. So you report, well, they've got a black eye each day. You make a record of it. Even if you turn that record in once a week, make a record once a day and turn it in to the CPS worker once a week. I mean, there's got to be something that can be done to help the situation and not cost a whole lot of money. I mean, there just has to be.
And isn't that the truth? And I don't for the life of me understand why um, parents who have had CPS intervene in their parenting, I think should lose a lot of care and control of their kids, and at the very least, oversight from grandparents or trusted family members should be welcome. When the alternative is to remove the kids, should be welcome. I don't know. That's just the way I see it. Cody didn't give up his rights. He just didn't exercise them. Trust me on that.
I
Stay
second
tuned.
that.
Actually, stay tuned for that one. Because honestly, that, in my opinion, and I don't know anything. I have no insider information per se, but to me, that would be the quickest road to Belynda being successful in what the information that she's after. To me, the kids are found tomorrow, alive and well. Who are they going to go to? Who would they place them with? I don't think it
Well,
would
I
be
would
the
hope not
parents. I
Cyndi and
don't think it
Wade
would be.
because
It's not going to be Malehya. It's not going to be Daniel. So, yeah. So I think the quickest road to success is going that avenue. So hopefully, stay tuned. Who knows? Who knows? Now I'm way behind in chat again. I'm so sorry, you guys. I keep seeing great things. Black eye removal from home, 2 black eyes. I mean, it doesn't work that way. That's why you don't play hissy fit and waive your parental rights. He didn't. Let's keep the DNA on by clicking. Oh, Brenda, thank you. That's funny. Start reading it. Behind every piece of shit is an army of enablers. That is true, but let's put a stipulation in our new legislation that says those enablers will be held accountable too if they fail to report. Do you know what I mean? There has to be a way to protect kids better. There were so many opportunities missed to save Jack and Lily from whatever they're going through today, in my opinion. Do you all get God's parents stuff in Canada that stars? They take care of them if something happens. Godparents, some families. I have godparents. My children have godparents. Yeah. My grandkids have godparents, but it wasn't a falling out. But I mean, my daughter doesn't talk to that couple anymore, so I think it needs to be a blood relative who is, cleared, maybe criminal record check, maybe CPS history check, somebody that's approved by the ministry to be trustworthy enough to take on that responsibility. And how hard, honestly, let's talk reality here. How hard would it be for a grandparent who loves their grandchildren to keep an eye on their own kid when they know they're failing as a parent to make sure that your grandkids are safe? How hard would it be? For me, it would be nothing. It would be regular. It would be, just my regular day in and day out. Let's have a FaceTime. Let's have a visit. Let's make sure the kids are good. Let's talk about what you've done today. Let's make sure that all of the things that CPS told me that were issues, let's make sure that we talk about all of those things with my kid every single day. To me, it's not. It's not a huge undertaking to make sure your grandkids are safe, especially if you're given a responsibility by CPS to do so because there's a problem with your kids parenting of their own child. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know. That's just ask Janie how hard. No, 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 no. I'm not talking about Janie. I'm not talking about Janie. I'm not talking about grandparents' rights even. Because I said that right from the get. You think grandparents' rights is easy to get? You think Belynda should have been able just to go to court and say, you know, I want to see my grandkids. Let me see my like it's not that easy. That's not what I'm saying, Christina. Not at all. I'm saying now CPS has been called on my child because my grandkids are suffering in some way, shape, or form. Now CPS has a file open and they're going to approach me as their biological grandmother and say, look, I've got a consent signed by your son, daughter, whatever, to bring you into this. Here are the issues that we found. Here is our plan going forward. And is your obligation to check in with them every day and report back to us if there's any issues. That's what I'm saying. I I don't know. It sounds like it sounds easy to me. But I'm not talking about Janie and her situation and the things that she's said or the things that she's been trying to do because I know that's not how it works. I'm not saying grandparents' rights. I'm not saying guardianship. I'm saying your job as a parent never ends. So if your child is fucking up as a parent to the point where CPS is now involved because your grandchildren are suffering, maybe put some of that onus back on the parent of that parent. I'm just spitballing here, but I don't know. Dumb idea. You're in a great position to create a child protection board. Public parents can meet, discuss the issues, and look at solutions and present them to the authority as recommendation, maybe. I don't even know if we're allowed to do something like that in Canada. That would be, to me, that would be along the lines of a joint committee to, you know, create petitions and shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how much noise we could make as a public committee with absolutely no involvement in government or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What do you I don't know. Didn't Cyndi try with the FaceTimes and phone calls? But my point is, Christina, she wasn't obligated to report anything to CPS. This is a different level. Yeah. I'm sure she did. Just like I have FaceTime, I don't have any concerns. My daughter was born to be a mom. Like this woman does crafts and stuff all day long with her kids. All day long, she's 100% about her kids. But if the situation was different and CPS had let me know that there were issues and here are the issues and here's our plan going forward, and now my responsibility to my grandchildren and to my kid really would be to make sure that they're abiding by that CPS order, whatever, whatnot, making sure my grandkids are improving and their situation is improving. I don't think that that's a huge ask for a grandmother who cares. But obligated and held accountable if I don't. I don't know how that would work, what it would look like, but I don't think that's a bad idea. If Good question. Good question. CPS called on Daniel. Janie lived at the place. Did she help? Would she have called in on her son? Would she have called in on her son if he was abusing her biological grand? I think so. I think she would have stepped in to do something about it. I do. I think that she loved her biological grandchildren. I do. I do. And if it's that hard, that's where the accountability comes into play. If you don't, you're going to be held accountable for not reporting. Is that terrible? Is that terrible for me to still be at some point when my grandchildren's lives are, if they're being mistreated, if they're being abused, is it terrible for people to expect me to step in and try to help my daughter do better by my grandchildren? Is that too much to ask of me? Even though my daughter is an adult and has, I mean, my daughter has 4 kids. Is that too much of that to ask of me? Like, my daughter's an adult now, no longer my problem. Is that the thing? Should I be held accountable if I've agreed to work with CPS with my child to make sure my grandkids are okay? Is that too much to ask? I'm really asking. What do you guys think? Is that something that could help? Could that work? Well, and that's bringing more funding in. That's bringing more money into the mix. There has to be, and that should that not, oh my gosh, this is so controversial, but should that not play into the best interest of the child? If CPS comes in and there is nobody else in the family who is trustworthy or gives a shit about the kids, should that not play into the well-being of the children? If CPS was called because of neglect, abuse, whatever, and there's nobody but these neglectful, abusive parents, wow, that's a question. That's disturbing to think, but that's a good, that's a good question. I'm sorry I missed your last comment, but if you're discussing Jack and Lily, they were never taken away.
Okay, so that comment, um,
Sorry.
so that comment, what she said was Cody's rights, parental rights, were never taken away. In my opinion, there was no fight between Cody and Malehya for the children. Malehya got legal custody. Cody didn't fight it. Malehya dies or something, custody goes back to Cody. From my understanding in the United States, that would be a yes. But again, I asked because that was a question I had. And I personally asked Belynda months ago if Cody's rights were ever taken. And she told me, no, his rights were never taken. He still had his rights. So I got that from the horse's mouth. So for somebody else to say that that's any different, you're wrong, because I got it straight from the horse's mouth. Cody still has his rights. And, could Cody request them? Probably, maybe. I don't know how that works, but he never gave up his rights. He was paying child support up until about 9 months before the kids went missing. So that tells you right there, his rights were not taken.
He absolutely can apply. He absolutely can. He absolutely could do something here. 100%. He has there's no legal reason why he couldn't. We don't know what kind of a dad he was or what's in his history. We don't know if he'd be successful, but there's nothing stopping him from doing it.
I mean, that's my understanding of it too. There's nothing, legally stopping him from doing it. But,
So, and this 100%, Carla, Cyndi should have reported the abuse to CPS for a long time, not wait, in your opinion. You're very right. And as a healthcare worker, she's a mandated reporter. So does she claim that she didn't know or she didn't see abuse? But But my utopian idea would be for Cyndi to be obligated to have accountability if she fails to report. She can't, she's got an agreement saying that these are the issues. This is what we need you to do, not just a a mandated reporter requirement that she can deny even knowing that there was abuse. No, now here are the issues that we were called in about. Here is the plan, and you need to monitor this. And if you fail to monitor or report, we'll hold you accountable. Like I said, I can't fairly put myself in that position because I have zero worries about my child as a mother. But if I did, I don't know that I would have an issue with taking that responsibility or calling in to make sure my grandchildren are safe. If even if it meant reporting my daughter or reporting my son for not abiding by what CPS has put into place. Not only would I be helping keep my grandkids safe, but I would also be proving myself as a safe person, a safe place for my grandkids to be placed, so that if CPS eventually decides to remove the children from my daughter's home, they can be placed with me because I do care about their safety and their security and their well-being enough to oversee and help CPS enforce whatever findings or whatever plan they come up with. Maybe I'm just spewing self-righteous, you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm just being ignorant to the situation that I can't relate to, but it's just an idea that wouldn't cost nothing. It wouldn't cost the government any money, but it could potentially save kids from going missing or worse. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Mm, mm.
So I do have experience in reporting people to CPS, and I've reported 2 people, and both children were taken away. And in fact, I was made guardian and foster parent of 2 of them, of 2 of the 3 children, because 2 of them were in one family. So if you see abuse, it doesn't matter if it's your son, if it's your daughter, if it's your cousin, if it's a friend, it doesn't matter. When you see abuse, you have a duty, in my opinion, not a legal duty like a mandated reporter, but you have a duty as a human being to watch out for the care of children. If you see a child being abused, in my opinion, you have a moral obligation to report that to somebody. And that's how I see it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. But there is what Belynda said, and so now y'all see it from the horse's mouth. Not calling you a horse, Belynda. Love you.
So, no, child support isn't a qualifier, but the way it works, yes, as the parent, he is responsible for child support. But if he actually signs off his rights, he has 0 parental rights. He doesn't, part of that usually is signing off on child support. And I know because I've done it. I My ex signed off his rights to any parenting, visitation, wanted nothing to do with the kids, didn't have to pay child support. Now, later on, when he tried to come back and have a relationship with my child, I threw him back at maintenance enforcement for back pay. So, You can sign off on child support. Do you know what I mean? But like Belynda said, he walked away. He didn't sign off on his parental rights. He just didn't fight for them or exercise any rights. Right? I think Belynda just answered most of these. Cody walked away, turned his back. That can be used against him. It can't be held against me. But in a case like this, and this is just my unsolicited opinion on it, with all due respect, Jack and Lily were not missing back then. So I think he would be successful. And I just do. It's worth a shot, in my humble opinion. Like I said, unsolicited opinion. Any
But this isn't
Yeah.
even really about Cody, right? So, I mean, I get everybody has an opinion, but let's get off of that because this isn't about Cody. This is about Jack and Lily are missing. They were in the care of Malehya and Daniel. Those are the two people who were legally responsible to watch after and take care and nurture Jack and Lily, and they failed.
I have to go let Harley out. You continue.
I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Belynda, and I think what she's doing is what's in the best interest of the kids, whether they're found alive or not. She's the one out here keeping their names going and searching and looking and all of that. So, I mean, we don't know what situation was going on when Cody and Malehya split up. But again, it's not about Cody. Cody wasn't there that day. There were 3 people on that property. And so it doesn't come down to child support or rights or any of that because the people who were on that property had a duty to care for the children and they failed. So, I mean, I don't really know really what more to say. I mean, I understand you guys are saying that, that would negate the court case because he could just file. But if they think that him walking away will go against him in that case, then like Belynda said, she stands a better chance because she didn't, right? So I get where she's coming from, and it makes sense if you guys just stop and think about it. Melissa, I agree to a point, but Cody needs to grow up. His children are missing. If it was my son, I know what I would do. Okay, but you, Lori, would you be doing what Belynda's doing? Yeah, she can sit there and tell Cody, hey, I need you to do this. But Cody's an adult, so nobody can make him do anything. I mean, you just can't. You can't make a parent do something. But if something could be held against one parent or the other in court and hurt the chances of you finding out information and being able to advocate, because that's what this is about. Belynda wants to be able to advocate for the kids. She wants to, if they're found, be able to decide or have a say, not necessarily decide, but have a say in what happens. If they're found unalive, if Belynda wins this court case, she has a say in what happens. And that's all she's asking for. I mean, I totally think that custody should go to Belynda. I was just thinking that she stands a better chance with having Cody support her. I understand that. But again, if it can be used against Cody, then that also hurts her if it's a joint thing. Belynda is looking at this logically. The court can sit here and hold it against Cody that he walked away. So we're not going to give you Jack. And that cuts Belynda out no matter what, because Cody was on it. Without Cody being on it, Belynda can say, I didn't walk away. They walked away from me. I didn't walk away. I was still there up until 18 months before these kids went missing. I was still there. She has a say. She just wants to have a say. She just wants to be able to advocate for her grandchildren. She is doing what a grandparent should do. And I think she should have every right in doing so. Until the last time my mother and stepfather got custody of me, I must have missed your. And as well as CPS has failed my brothers and I twice by giving us back to the same man that abused us and my mom, right? And that's what they would be doing. If they gave the kids back to Malehya and Daniel, you are giving those children back to the people that neglected them, abused them, and let them go missing or harm them, in my opinion. And that does not do justice for Jack and Lily. Whereas all Belynda is wanting is a say in what happens to these two beautiful babies. You're welcome, Belynda. Like I said, much love. I couldn't let it keep going. And I get you guys want Cody to step up, but Belynda can't make Cody step up to be a dad any more than I can go raise my son from the dead. You can't make somebody, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Right? And Belynda is doing what she thinks is right, and I support her in that. Exactly, Carla. He was paying his child support up until the time that he lost his job. You are correct. He didn't sign off of child support. He just lost his job. Was Daniel legally responsible for Jack and Lily? He wasn't a legal step-parent. Okay, he wasn't a legal step-parent. However, he was in a relationship with their mom and living with them. So, legally, I don't know. Morally, ethically, yes. Legally, I don't know, because I don't quite understand all of the laws there. So I don't know about legally, but I mean, he wants to consider them his kids, his stepkids. So I would think that he has. Belynda is amazing. God bless you, sweetheart. I'm praying for you, sending love and respect for this ongoing battle. Yes. He don't have to be a dad. No kids to be a dad too. Not right now. But who's to say if Jack and Lily are found alive, that Cody won't step in and say, okay, look, I'm stepping in now. This has gone too far. We don't know. No, none of us have a crystal ball. None of us can go back and change the past. And none of us have a crystal ball to say what's going to happen a month or 2 or 3 months from now. I mean, let's be honest. It has to do with Malehya and the government, and as to whether Belynda can have something like joint custody or day-to-day guardianship. It's not even that. She just wants to have access to information and have an input on the kids when they're found. That is it. She's not seeking custody. She's not, taken away. She just wants to be able to have an input, from what I have understood. Belynda, God bless you and hope you get rights assigned to you. and hopefully we'll have a chance to get. Why would she get the baby, Kelly? Can you explain that one to me? The baby's not legally related to Belynda. So Daniel's family would get the baby, and Belynda could have input on Lily and Jack. At least that's how I understand it. But he could be classed unreliable, so Belynda has a better chance of gaining guardianship. Exactly. That was her whole point. Him walking away can be used against him, but it can't against her. And if they file jointly, it goes against her too. If she files separate by herself, it can't be used against her. Hopefully it doesn't take 3 more months. We're at 10 months, guys. If it takes 3 more months, we're a year and a month in. I mean, I know we said this with Sebastian too. We didn't think it would take 2 years, and we just passed his 2-year mark. But I really hope it doesn't take that long. I really, really do. She wants information to make decisions when they're found. It's not just information she wants. Exactly. She wants input on what happens when the kids are found. And I will say when the kids are found. Brenda said, so legally in Canada law, Daniel would be looked at as being a legally responsible. Okay, so that's kind of what I had understood, because of your guys' like common law married thing. So I find him responsible, but yeah, I mean, technically it wouldn't be a step, it would be a half sister, not a stepsister, because Daniel's biological kids would be the step siblings. The baby would be a half sibling because they share a mother. Belynda does not
Yeah,
have.
so common law, sorry, common law in Canada is 2 consecutive years in a marriage-like relationship, apparently. I have a judgment, a court order right beside me that spells it out. Crazy, I know.
That is, I think it's 3 here. It might be 2, but I think it's 3 here that you have to be in a married like.
Marriage life. Yeah, and that's Mr. Hemi is exactly right. That's no children involved. That's right. To be considered spouses, no, it's actually, well, mind you, I should pull that up. That's based on the BC Family Law Act. So, well, what we'll catch up, I guess, finish chat up here, Melissa, and then I'm gonna end it. I'm doing a Nancy live here in a little bit as well. So we'll wrap up if anybody has any final thoughts about Jack and Lily.
I just hope they're found, and I pray that come springtime they will be.
Yeah, more searches, more I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get any more information. It's unfortunate, but hopefully the case is moving forward with major crimes. Hopefully I'm sure they're investigating all aspects. Long story short, they deserve to come home. They deserve to be found. And I think, you know, I don't know. like, I don't know what else to say. I I hope and pray every day that they're found and that they get some sort of justice. That's really it's really the long and short of it. 10 months 10 months is too long, but we've got to keep it in perspective in that there are plenty of cases out there that go a whole heck of a lot longer. Like a whole heck of a lot longer, both in Canada and the United States and the UK. It's sad, but it's true. It's sad, but it's true. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Shenanigans is live. And unless you have anything else, Melissa, I am good to end it. And I'll be back in about an hour and a half, maybe ish, to talk about Nancy. There's some interesting new information that I want to talk about.
No, I'm good to end it. I think this went a little further off than kind of we had thought it would, but at least some things were cleared up, I guess. You know, in the end, pray for Jack and Lily to be found. It's taken too long, and I hope we're not here another 10 months from now still talking about this. Hopefully we'll have a resolution.
And I don't think that we went too off track. To me, we spent way too much time on Daniel at the beginning, but CPS and what changes could be made that could have saved Jack and Lily, I think, is an important conversation to have. I don't think it's too far off of the main goal of keeping Jack and Lily in our minds and in our hearts. And, I think it was a productive live. We did lots of brainstorming today, and hopefully we won't be here at 11 months, but if we are, we'll all still be here. So thanks everybody for being here. Hopefully you join me for Nancy's stuff, very interesting stuff that I found today. And with that, thank you, Melissa, for joining me. Hopefully you join me for Nancy later. And head over to Clutch then. Clutch Them Pearls is live. Woohoo! Go Justin. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
We're going